Hi guys, so today I'm joined by my husband Sean. We're going to be talking about the last 2 episodes of the Witcher Netflix show. We've done this for episodes 1 through 3, 4 through 6. And then obviously, like I said, we're going to be talking about the last 2.
As I've said in the last 2 videos, I am the average viewer. I've not read any of the books. I've only watched Elliot play the games. I've not played the game myself. I'm just going to say right now, I don't know anything about special effects. That's what I've learned the last 2 episodes is I'm like, I wish it was all...
I wish it was just makeup.
Yeah, I wish
no
it was
CGI.
makeup. And then some of you have been polite enough to tell me, well, some of those things that you didn't like were makeup. And
Just
so
behind the scenes.
I just don't know anything. Overall, though, I liked these last 2 episodes much more than 4 through 6, and I would say they're about tied with the first 3.
Yeah, I think the middle section, this first part's going to be non-spoiler and then we'll get into spoilers. The episodes in the middle, they don't fit as well as episodes 1 through 3, or more like episodes 1 and 2. Mm-hmm. Those go really well with the last 2. So it is kind of an interesting full circle approach to this. And I appreciated the ambition. We really didn't care very much for episodes 4 through 6. They changed some things certain things I pointed out that they changed, but I actually don't care. And then certain other things they changed and I was really aggravated by. And so I felt, I don't know, I was just kind of bummed out. I was that annoying bookworm that's like, the books did it differently. 7 and 8, I was pleased to see that they were adapting it really well. There is a battle that takes place in the show that's only referenced in the books. I didn't mind that they embraced that and then they showed it. I thought it was really well done.
While watching it, in my head, I just decided that didn't happen in the books at all. I was like, oh, they're just throwing in stuff now just to keep me excited.
Even though I
haven't read them. And then she was like, oh yeah, that's in there. I was like, oh. I will say, I've said this before, but having you here, you can explain what
was going on,
what is happening when. I feel like episode, I think 7, if you were unsure of the timeline, I feel like it did a good job of clearing things up for you. Is that correct? Is it at 7 or 8?
It was 7 yes, episode 7 was the one that they end up showing events from earlier in the season.
Right, in conjunction with another character.
And you see how the timelines come together. And I've seen a lot of people be really frustrated with the timeline of the show. And I understand. I think if I hadn't known who characters were, I would have missed the hints that they were dropping along the way, because those hints kind of require you to hear a character's name and realize, oh, that's what they talked about at this conversation, at the banquet earlier, those kinds of things. For example, in the very first episode, they're referencing a woman who was in battle, and they say, oh, you won your first battle when you were my age. And then in that same episode, we have a character saying, oh, that queen, she just won her first battle. So you see right there, oh, that means that this is in the past from this other thing over here. But if you didn't catch that queen's name, it just sounds like they're rambling about fantasy stuff.
I could see you not catching on. Like, I guess I'll never have that experience because, like I said, you helped me. But yeah, I felt like that episode was good for tying things in. We both agree there were some moments where they would like show the same exact scene
for too long.
Like it'd be like, oh yeah, it's that scene, and then I would be like, well,
okay, we saw this. Now. We have talked about too the way they did that. We felt if it had not been on a streaming service and this were coming out 1 episode a week, then that would have made perfect sense as a reminder, hey, that first episode. And then the parallels, you would kind of have your memory triggered. And so I felt, though, that because it's on a streaming service and realistically most of us are not watching 1 episode. I shouldn't say realistically. Some people are really busy and you might not even get to watch 1 episode a week. Yeah. But with a streaming service, I think it's known that people tend to binge stuff or they watch it in a short amount of time. And so it felt like they maybe spent a little too much time repeating some stuff from before. But I almost understand because of the fact that the timeline was difficult for some people. They were really making it clear, hey, this was from before. Last little non-spoiler thing I'll say, I was really pleased with you could call them changes, although I would say they more just fleshed certain things out more than the books did. I was pleased with those things. I thought they handled them really well. There was a sequence in that last episode, or the last couple episodes, they kind of blur in my head, but there was one part where a character is a little out of it and they're reflecting on things from their past, which is in the books,
yeah.
and I knew what was going on, but I felt like it would have been really confusing and very trippy for people that didn't know what was going on. So I feel like that part maybe could have been done in a way that was a little clearer, but ultimately I really did enjoy those last 2 episodes quite a bit, with one major exception: the last line of the show. I hated. I was watching those last couple episodes, and the whole time I was being really annoying because I kept saying, man, these are so much better than the last 3. These are so much better. And then we got to that last line, and I was like, what the heck? Because I was enjoying it so much, and I found it cringy and forced to an unbelievable end. Ugh, it just really aggravated me.
So that last line for me probably wouldn't have bothered me since I have read the books. But I didn't really have time to form a thought on it because literally, like, half a second after it was said, it's like, what? For me, the last 2 episodes, like I said, I enjoyed them. Battle, obviously, really well done. I thought everyone kind of got their chance to shine.
This show has not shied away from showing magic, which a lot of people, including myself, at some points have picked on because of the fact that it requires some special effects or makeup, whatever the case may be. It requires something to demonstrate, and sometimes it's done really well, and other times I wasn't the biggest fan. But the battle does have kind of a combination of interesting, I'm not an expert, but it looks like they're actually attempting to make some form of tactics and defense, and they combined it with some interesting magic. And so I felt like it was a really cool fantasy battle.
Yeah, exactly. Moving into spoilers.
We're going to get into spoilers now. So now I can tell you, even though if you guys have watched it and you're watching the spoilers section now, it's not whatever, you know what it was, but her being like, who's Yennefer? Could they have forced that even more? I feel like we get it. These people are tied together through destiny. Marketing has done a good job of letting us know that before the show even came out.
Yeah.
So, and they've been hinting at like, Yennefer wants a child. Yennefer wants to be a mother. And so it's like, I wonder how she's going to find that. So, I don't know. I just felt like it was really forced, and I was so into it in that last part. But that's kind of been a complaint of mine, that a lot of the show, in some ways, things like the timeline, they're like, I want to challenge the viewers. They'll figure it out, and then the pieces will fall together. And I think that's pretty cool to be like, you guys will get it, and then rewatching it will be really fun to catch all these hints. So I appreciate that, but it's weird to have us be challenged in that way. And then over here, it's like, let's really spell out how all these characters are connected.
Taking it in a different direction, I think, once again, as the average viewer, you're not really told like how things are set up very well. Like, I know there's Nilfgaard and Sintra. That's kind of about it. So then when the sorcerers came together, and there were the sorcerers who were like, let Sintra, be overrun. Then the other side was like, well, we have to defend the North. And there's part of me is like, who's the North? I don't know who that is. I just didn't know who we were defending. And I was like,
I think the motivations for the mages maybe could have been
more. Yeah, I guess that's what
they could
I didn't
have
know
been
why
spelled
they
out
cared.
more.
I was like,
I think they could have made that clearer, made the threat of Nilfgaard for the mages' way of life. Maybe they could have had that be a bigger thing throughout the story. They did hint at it a little bit in the dragon episode when they were all sitting together talking, because they're like, well, Nilfgaard's coming, and then you kind of see Yennefer looking a little guilty because she wiggled her way out of that obligation and whatnot. So they were hinting at it here and there, but you can let us know if you felt like the mages wanting to intervene, if that felt like it kind of came out of nowhere for you, or do you feel like it was appropriately set up?
Also, I keep having thoughts popping in my head. So, Nilfgaard.
I have thoughts about that too.
Fringilla, she's like, that's amazing. We can do any magic we want in Nilfgaard. There's nothing that's forbidden. Apparently in Nilfgaard, what's not forbidden is we had the guy eating skin and then killing himself. so that they could find Ciri.
And
And then we have
catapult.
other people incinerating themselves and turning into fire and then being launched on a catapult. Guys, you can launch rocks. You can find, like, you could put, like, I don't know, hay and oil onto the rock and light it on fire the old-fashioned way. There's ways of launching projectiles that aren't dead mages.
I feel like if I saw that fail miserably the first time,
I'd be like,
I wouldn't be like,
well,
let's lose this person.
Let's try it again.
Yeah. I do think it showed that there's this radical thought process with I think they're really hitting that home for the Nilfgaardians, because even when Geralt's like, where's Ciri? And the guy just starts rambling, and then Geralt's like, nah, and then he just kills the guy. So I definitely think they're trying to show that. But my frustrations with Nilfgaard are mostly rooted in the way they've handled, I'm going to say his name wrong, Cahir. I never really know exactly the lilt, not that that matters, but I can't really talk too much because it actually is a spoiler for, I'm
Maybe
assuming, future seasons in the show and everything. But what I will say is they have made it almost impossible to continue his character in the same way the books continue his character. I mean, it's not entirely impossible, but they're going to have to work harder to show him as the character we come to know in the books. And he's not really known in the books initially. He's this person that becomes this nightmarish figure for Ciri, partially because she doesn't actually ever really see him. She sees him with his interesting helmet, and she has these nightmares about him, and so it's amped up as this villain in her mind. Don't mind that they're showing the Nilfgaardians, because I think in the books we don't really have a set antagonist in the short stories, and so I think by creating one, it helps viewers be like, those are bad guys. And I'm okay with that. That's not, in my opinion, too spelled out for us, but we've come a long way, I find, in storytelling in showing really complex villains, especially that not everybody on the other side is always evil or is always bad. Sometimes people are caught in difficult situations. So there's a lot more complexity, and I don't feel like they really showed that. They showed us a creepy Doppler. They showed us Fringilla being really
evil,
radical and evil. They've shown all the soldiers to be totally swept along, and then I feel that they've showed him falling into that as well. And I didn't quite like that, but again, I'm fully aware it's me being that annoying book fan that's frustrated that things are a little different. But I actually feel like if they plan to continue on with the story, this is a character he's going to be likely a pretty significant character later, and it's going to be kind of difficult. The scene that I'm thinking of in particular is when he tells Mousesack, run, and then he makes him run, and then the Doppler chases him, and then they kill him anyway. It's hard to come back from that, I find, to show him as anything other than this evil,
kind of sadistic person.
Crazy, yeah.
Something that I'm not really sure how I felt about the battle scene. I don't know. I thought I could have used her being more involved instead of just like kind of holding her back until we wanted to win. Well, I'm not saying that's what the characters were thinking. We'll keep Yennefer until we want to win, but just the writing itself was like, let's not have Yennefer in it.
So she can have her big moment.
And
then it's a mysterious what's happened with her.
Yeah, I mean, it was fine. I also thought, like, apparently they just have incredible aim with those bows and bow and arrows, because they would, like, launch those bombs, basically, and I'd be like, got it.
One thing that we laughed at a little bit was when Yennefer makes more of the fletchings, and then the girl's like, I wish I could do that. And she's like, it's just magic. It's not real. Or something like that. And then if I were that lady, I'm like literally it's not real. Can we not use these?
Are these illusions?
Are these illusions like Stregobord's women?
Luna wants us to stop talking about Witcher now. Oh, her tail's fine.
We gotta start wrapping it up. Our puppy is starting to whimper at us. And so the last thing we want to mention is Vilgefortz. I like the actor that they picked for him. I've been pleased with the acting in the show. I know for some people they haven't loved it. I just haven't loved all the dialogue that they've given the actors. But regardless, Vilgefortz, I liked the actor. I liked that we don't know a lot about him. I liked that we were introduced to him in that last chunk. But I was a little annoyed at the sword, whoops. And then Yennefer's like, stop using all your magic, man. He's like, no, this trick's cool. Sword, Whoops. Oh shoot, now I have no magic left, and then he falls.
Be a better swordsman, I guess. Like how do you lose your sword that many
He's
times?
supposed to be pretty legit, too.
Yeah, that's why I was confused.
I can't tell if they were really trying to amp up how good of a swordsman our knight is, or if they're trying to just... I don't really know, but I do wish they'd made him a little more intense and amazing. I would have rather there was some kind of draw, and then something occurred where, I don't know, Fringilla intervened, and then Kair had to leave, and he got away, or something where it wasn't like he just fell down and rolled and hit his head. Overall, I have mixed feelings about Witcher. I'm glad so many of you have loved it. I'm sorry for those of you that haven't, but it'll be interesting to see what they do in season 2. I still have high hopes because I've seen some really good potential in this first season. I hope you guys have enjoyed our little casual chats. I hope you liked the show, and we'll see you guys later. Bye.